Hey, Hunter, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Have you or will you be signing like with an apparel company or getting some professional endorsements? Or I guess what resulted in you deciding to turn pro at this time?
Yeah, definitely. There's a few. We have three different contracts on the table as far as apparel brands, and we're hoping to sign probably sometime beginning of March. And all those contracts are in the process right now. And then obviously some smaller brands, but um, there's a lot of different things that kind of led to the pro decision. I had planned on going pro after the outdoor season last year, and obviously that got canceled. And I kind of wanted to give it one more shot with my team, just running a 4x4 for another national championship, and just new changes and things with the NCAA. It just made more sense for me to go pro, especially with the offers on the table going into Tokyo in 2021.
When would you anticipate? If you want to say who those offers are from, I don't know. You might want to keep that to yourself. But when would you anticipate signing with whoever you choose?
Yeah, it's still on the low right now until we make it official. But February 15th is a big day. That's when the contracts are supposed to be presented, and we can kind of look through them and see where I want to be. I do have one company in mind that I'm most interested in, but we'll just kind of see how that develops. So, like I said, early March we should have everything figured out and start announcing some of the partnerships. And I think early next week I'll be announcing some of the agencies I'm going to be working with, on the professional track side, and then on the media side of things.
When you say media side of things, how do you mean that?
So I'm working with an agency on social media, traditional media, different opportunities, more related to me as like in my personal brand and the things I'm doing, rather than just the sport of track and field. So
And then when did you come to this? You said you were going to do it after the outdoor season, but obviously everything changed. So did you decide this fall? Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Let's not wait. Or when did you make the ultimate decision?
I think it's probably been the last 3 or 4 months, kind of trying to navigate through everything going on. The reason it didn't happen last year is, literally the day after the Tokyo Olympics got postponed, every contract that was on the table was retracted, just because obviously with no games, there's not really a lot of sense in putting out a bunch of money for these athletes. So, it was more of just like, okay, let's get things back together, figure out what's happening with Tokyo. And um, I just didn't want to make that process. I didn't want to run into the same problem I ran into last year, where we get close to the games and then something happens, or something comes out of left field, and it's like the opportunity's on the table now. So I just wanted to take advantage of it and move to the next part of my career, I guess.
I should know this, but how old are you?
21. I turned 22 next month.
Okay. Um, and then do you still plan to live and train here in Fayetteville, or what's your plans about that?
Yeah, I plan to train with Coach Case through Tokyo, and as long as he'll have me, really. And I actually just closed on a house in Fayetteville, so I plan on staying here for the foreseeable future.
Okay, well, that's cool. And then as far as what kind of race shape are you in, or what are your expectations for tomorrow? And how cool is it that you get to run? I guess I guess you technically haven't signed your contract. You're turning pro. How cool to get to run your first race in a pro setting and right here at your home track.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We're gonna see where I'm at as far as race shape, and obviously the biggest focus is on Tokyo. So tomorrow is really just to get the rust off. I haven't raced since last March, so it's really just getting back into the swing of things. We've ran a few time trials in practice where, just in a practice setting, I've been running in the low 47s pretty easily. So if I run anything, 47 and below, I'm gonna be happy. And just go back and kind of see what's going on and reassess and fix the training. But honestly, the biggest thing for me is just, kind of figuring out where I'm at, because it's been so long since I've been in a racing environment. But to have it be at home is an absolute blessing, somewhere where I feel comfortable. It makes that transition, getting back into competing, really worth it. And it kind of comes full circle as far as how this whole process has went. And, you know, it'll be some closure, I guess, into, you know, going into the next stage and being able to kind of thank and finish out everything that I received from the university.
Was your last race with the SEC championships indoors?
Yeah, it was SEC championships. Yep. It was the last
Okay.
time I've come out of blocks.
Yeah, I might have a couple more, but I'll turn it back to Sean. Thanks, Hunter.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, next.
Hunter, how are you, man? Good to see you.
It's good. Good to see you too, man. Well,
Think back to when you're in high school, you weren't even sure whether a college would take you, with running on prosthetics, and Arkansas obviously turned out to be a great, a great place for you to go. But back then, could you ever have imagined becoming a professional athlete? Well, like, was that on your radar as far back as high school?
I think it was always like a goal, but it was one of those things that was pretty unattainable, especially at the time. And a lot of things have changed within the sport, especially with, the Paralympics and it just kind of getting to the same level as the Olympics. And in a lot of ways it has, but I think one of the ways that has dragged behind so far is the professional aspect of it and getting, sponsorships secured and getting brands to understand the value of Paralympians and their stories and stuff. And that's something that we've kind of been fighting for. And that's why I've, pushed off going pro for so long, is because I understand my value and I wasn't going to, go pro or sign for something that I didn't think was worth it. It wasn't worth me, because not only does it affect me, but it also affects everyone else in the sport. Because if I'm willing to settle and go for, whatever X is on the table that's not, worth it, then that's going to transfer to all the other athletes who are trying to make a career and a job out of the sport.
You obviously have a uniqueness, and as a Paralympian you can speak to a different community of people than most track athletes do. The process of finding sponsors, have they come to you, or have you reached out and said, hey, this is what I offer, and consider that? I mean, has it been a little bit of both, or do you feel like those companies have singled you out and said, hey, this is someone that
Yeah.
fits our brand in a way that nobody else can?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a little bit of a combination of the two. And as far as like on the track side of things, not many brands have approached me, or they have approached me, but they've approached me with very small offers or just kind of like very, low end deals. Or then on the social media side, it's like, now that I have, a platform of 3 million followers and can leverage that and monetize that side of things, it's like, okay, now brands and companies are starting to understand the value of, a story and platform and all of these things. And it's like, when that started happening, then we were able to kind of use that and go to these other brands. And you'll kind of see as these partnerships start to pop up, and you can kind of see how then they understand, like, hey, this is how we can use this, and this is how we can create a partnership and a brand that really makes sense and really speaks to someone and people can connect with. So a little bit of both, but yeah, it took a lot of fighting. It was kind of the same as the process of, getting into college, where it was kind of us saying, hey, here's the proof of concept, here's why this makes sense for you, and then getting somebody to kind of bite in on that and say, hey, I'm going to take a chance on you and let's try to do something together. So
Are you near your degree at this point?
yeah, so I'm gonna actually graduate this semester. So in May, I'm supposed to graduate, which was another big factor in this pro decision. Is like, hey, I'm in the last leg of this anyways. So just kind of make sure everything's smooth when that graduation comes.
You said February 15th is going to be an important date. That's obviously before March 15th, which would have been the NCAA indoors.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult of a decision has it been to make a decision like this now versus see it through the end of the indoor season with Arkansas?
Yeah, it was a very difficult decision. And my original plan was to wait until after the NCAA season, but the NCAA actually, in a lot of ways, forced me out through some decisions of, like I said, that kind of the name, image, and likeness rule. And with the name, image, and likeness vote being pushed, they then kind of went back and said, "Hey, all of the things that we said were going to be okay, we're going to no longer be okay with that." And then they started implying all the rules and things. So it was like the things that they were asking me to do to stay in the NCAA and be a part of the season was not worth, the 4 meets that I was going to be able to run. So,
Does the
even though
name,
it
image,
wasn't-
and likeness stuff extend to your social media accounts?
Yeah, it does. And the reason
I
that
see.
so what happened is the things that I was doing that infringed on the name, image, and likeness rule were after the season was canceled when we were in quarantine. So we had no school, we had no track, we had no clue if there was going to be any season or any chance for us to run. And I was doing things non-related to the sport, but they classified it as the name, image, and likeness rule because even though that specific thing that I did had nothing to do with the sport or the university or me being an athlete in any way, it was on my page, which had a picture of me running for Arkansas 6 posts ago. So they made that connection through, I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is. But
So tomorrow, can you tell us what you're going to wear? Is it just going to be like blank stuff?
I'll be wearing my Arkansas gear.
Oh, okay.
One
One last
yeah,
time.
2 last races as a hog. And I mean, it's a pretty common practice. So, before this meet,
Yeah.
I actually reached out to Fred Curley, who's a good friend and a lot of a mentor for me in the track world. And I said, "Hey man, here's the situation. What should I wear?" He said, "Man, wear your Arkansas gear until you get the contract in front of you and signed." So that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be proud to wear it on my chest.
Awesome. Congratulations, Hunter.
Thank you very much.
Hey Hunter, back to a little bit of that stuff. How frustrating is it to have a plan coming in and then have that kind of ripped out and then have to make that decision that you had to make to go pro when you're trying to help your team win a national championship in the end?
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating, especially because obviously, these opportunities have been on the table a lot before now. And the reason that I stuck in the NCAA was to be there with my team and kind of experience that again. We got nationals taken away from us because of the pandemic. And, this was kind of that second chance at that and that time for closure and just, being able to finish it out with, my team and my friends that I've been competing and training with for the last 4 years. So, it was difficult. It was irritating, especially because, every week was a different answer. So, it was hard to just get a straight answer. And University of Arkansas and the compliance team and everyone, involved in that was instrumental in fighting for me and having my back and kind of supporting me through the process. But it's difficult when, answers are, few and far between and they're very inconsistent. So, they did the best they could. And, at the end of the day, it just made more sense to move on.
Did your clothing company have anything else to do with that too? And then also you're now a part of this name, image, and likeness, and going forward, other athletes are going to be able to take advantage of it. How much have you learned about going through that process and what it's going to be like for those athletes when they get the opportunity, whether it's a year or two down the road?
Yeah, definitely. The clothing company definitely had a lot to do with it, especially just at the scale that we grew, which, obviously I had no way of knowing that was going to be the trajectory of the company. But, I've learned so much about this whole process, and speaking with the University of Arkansas and kind of some representatives that are in that area, like my goal moving forward is to take what I've learned and take this experience that I've been through and use it to help athletes in the future. Like I'm very lucky that this happened in my senior year when I was ready to go pro anyways. Like if this happened freshman year, it's very difficult. And it's happened to other, athletes like Destroying from Florida State and Ryan Trahan from Texas A&M. And, in a lot of ways, it seems, at least for me, from an athlete's perspective, that the NCAA tries their best to kind of control situations. And when they say they're trying to develop and help athletes get to the next level, but through the whole process, they're limiting them doing that. And another thing that was really difficult is my compliance team was saying, hey, there's this person from Oregon, there's this person from all these other schools that are doing similar things, but it's different because of the level which you're doing it on. And they would kind of take different approaches and rules to apply to certain cases depending on, the situation at the scale of which they're doing it. So yeah, it was definitely irritating, but
I remember the first time I met you when you came into Fayetteville and we set that whole thing up with Jerry, and till now when you're Razorback careers, what are some of the memories that you'll take from the time that you signed with Arkansas to now that it's over as a Razorback?
there's so many amazing memories. And I mean, even like Doug said, back in high school, because we've had a connection for a really long time, is like I didn't even know if I was going to be able to run at a Division I school or in college at all. So just the having the opportunity to come on campus and meet everyone on the team and be treated just like another guy and get in those workouts and just get to work, like that's going to stick with me forever. Moving forward, obviously one of the biggest memories that I'll take with me is winning the SEC championship. I mean, throughout the 2 years prior to that, obviously we came really close to a lot of, big championship wins and just never really got it done. And I think it happened in the best way possible. And with losing nationals, I think that was the only way that we could have ended that season and kind of had some closure and understood that we were doing a good thing. And it was a good group of guys. So
Hunter, can you reflect for a moment on how influential you think your participation has been in NCAA track and field these last few years?
oh, man, I would like to say a lot, but I mean, I'm probably a little biased. But I hope, if nothing else, that it kind of opens people's eyes to see, what's possible and that there needs to be changes made in a lot of different ways. And it's not necessarily changes because, when I came to college, there wasn't any rules or anything changed. It was something actually added new. It was a whole new situation. So I hope that it just kind of opens people's eyes of whatever situation they're in. Like, hey man, if this is your goal and this is what you want to do, like find a way to get it done. And, for me, I obviously could not have done this by myself, and having a team of people and, a support group that was willing to, kind of back me and stick their neck out for me made all the difference. And I think that's the reason that, I am here today and I am taking this next step. So even though it was, my face in front of all of it, I mean, there's so many people in the background that were, the real orchestrators and making it all happen. So.
Hey, Hunter, it's good to see you. The business of this aside, you certainly, as you alluded to, have a story to tell. What is your message to everyone who looks up to you as you make this jump?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I said this earlier in a post that I made. The biggest thing is like, throughout my entire life, I've just been told what I was going to do by other people, what was possible. And, when I have told people, some of my goals and aspirations, I've had people laugh at me and just kind of push it aside. And I've fought through a lot to get to this point. And, the reason I share these things is I don't want to tell people how great I am, or I don't want to know people understand like the adversity I fought through, but I want people to understand that it doesn't matter like who you are, where you come from, the goals and the things you set for yourself are things that can be accomplished if you put your mind to it. And it's one of those cliche messages, but I hope that the things I've been through and showing this is proof of that hey, I'm just a normal guy, and I just took the steps and made the sacrifices I had to get to where I am. So wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever somebody's told you, like throw it all aside and just fight for what you want, I guess.
Hey Hunter, this is Bob Holt again. I follow you on social media, but I guess I didn't realize you had 3 million followers. What's that like?
It's humbling for sure. It's weird to think that that amount of people would care about the things I'm doing in life or what I'm posting about, but it really is great, and it's given me a really amazing opportunity to kind of share my story and impact other people and connect with people in similar situations, and hopefully bring a little bit of positivity to people's days. So it's been amazing.
And the clothing thing, I guess I hadn't kept up as much with that. is that a deal where you kind of had your own business going and the NCAA said, hey, this isn't, you got to be careful, you're making too much or something? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, exactly. So it's actually, I'm wearing one of them right now. It's called Giant Hoodies, and we started it in March after the season was canceled, and it just kind of grew exponentially, and we're coming up on over 100,000 units that we've sent out, and we're featured on Oprah's Favorite Things of 2020, and it's just been like a really amazing response to the company and the community that we've kind of built. So it's been really special, and yeah, I as we've seen kind of in the past, NCAA is never a huge fan of athletes, kind of going out and starting their own ventures, whether it's regarding the sport that they're in or not. So, which in some cases, I genuinely do understand, but yeah, I think it's a sticky situation in a lot of others. But
So you've
Are you
sold
like the owner
100,000
and
hoodies?
founder of that? Or is
um,
there a group that you're with?
yeah, so there's three of us. There's three partners, and we're all even owners. So there's myself. I'm in charge of kind of branding and marketing, social media, all of those things. Then we have Jonathan Montgomery, who is in charge of logistics, accounting, all of that day-to-day, employees, things like that. And then Matt Horner, who's our third partner, and he's in charge of web development, and everything on the technology side.
And you sold 100,000 hoodies?
Yeah, so we're going to be on Good Morning America on February 11th, and that should cross us. I think we'll be over 110,000 hoodies. Yeah.
Okay. And when I was 22, I was just trying to make rent every month. What's it like to be that age and buy a house?
Everything has been happening so fast. It kind of feels like I'm playing a game of catch up every day, but I just feel really blessed, and I mean, that's what I mean when I say, like, I'm so thankful for everything this community and this university and this opportunity has brought to me, because it goes much farther than just track and field and the sport that I'm in. It's like everything that I have, a large portion of it, goes to the people I've met and the opportunities I've had here in this city.
You've gone from the love stories on social media to the 3 million followers. Ellen, you talk about Oprah's, favorite things. I mean, the ride you've been on since you left home to come to Arkansas, what's that been like? Because I still remember some of those first posts, with you and Tara, and going through all of that to now, man.
Yeah, it's been insane, and I'm blessed to say that Tara's still rocking with me and going through all of this stuff with me, and she's still going to be in the NCAA, so I'll still have a little grip on what's going on there. But man, it's just been a ride, and it's been absolutely amazing. And it just kind of goes to show, like, there's so many things out there, and I've been telling people, like, man, it's more than about just track. Like, you can do track and you can be an amazing athlete, and then you can also focus on the things that you love and that you're passionate about. And I've been trying to preach that to other athletes, of just like, hey, find out what you love. Like, if track's what you love, keep on doing it. But just find those things that make life worth living.
And now it becomes a business for you. I mean, before it was, you had all that other stuff, but track was a way to something. Now it's going to become a business. How does your approach change with that business-like approach you're going to have to take with the sponsorship and going out and trying to win races on a worldwide scale now?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing for me in track and field, and when I've always competed in the best, is just when I'm having fun. So obviously, you take into account that there is companies and people that you're, collaborating and partnering up with, and you have a responsibility to, bring that return and bring that investment back into them. So, on a business sense, like, my goal is to make sure that whatever that brand is giving to me, whether it be monetarily or helping me with content or whatever it is, like, my job is to bring that back to them and kind of create and foster this brand. So, as far as the track portion of things, I'm confident in myself as an athlete, and that's just a day in and day out thing. And you win races, like everyone says, all the time before that race, right? 99% of a race is won before you even run it. So, you know, it's been proven year and year again with Coach Case and the team that he's put together, and he obviously knows how to cycle athletes. So just trusting in my training and making sure that I'm putting my best effort out there, you know, every single day. And then on top of that, it's just like keeping this fun environment going and getting people connected to what I'm doing and bringing them into my life.
Yeah, Hunter, you said you're graduating here this end of semester. I'm assuming your degree's in business, or what's your degree gonna be in?
Yeah, I have a marketing major with a communications minor. So I think I have a finance minor too. So I major in 2 minors.
Any other question? All
Awesome.
right, well, Hunter,